for Joan to talk about our meetings coming up.
Here we go. Am I unmuted?
I can hear you, Joan.
Okay, I'm looking at two screens, and we have a hand raised. Cheryl, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question first?
No, I don't want to unmute yet. I don't want to ask a question. I had put it up to just say that I was new. Sorry.
Oh, well, hello.
Oh.
and yes, we heard. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, as we all know, 2020 means we're going to be meeting on Zoom for the foreseeable future. So hopefully this is going to go well tonight. And next month, we will have a guest presentation from Amy Patansu, overview of undulate weaving, which is like a fan read. So you get different sets across your warp. And she is going to join us from Western North Carolina. She is the instructor at Haywood Community College in the professional, I think it's called professional crafts curriculum. And then the October meeting, we're looking at breakout sessions. We have some technical hurdles on how to do that remotely. And then looking forward to our November, December meeting, we're going to have to raise our own glasses. I see we have snacks. And we will do any weaving challenge from the past that you've completed. We'll share at that meeting, and then we're going to try and figure out a way to do assign new challenges to be presented next year in 2021. And then in Lori Rhodes' absence, she wanted to make sure everybody knows that TFAC is available for guild use, that all scheduling needs to go through her so that we don't overlap with some of the other people that rent space from TFAC. Of course, it's at your own risk. Bring your hand wipes and so on. So.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think I've talked to Lori about what might be involved in using the building or the space, and she is the scheduler for the whole space, so she'll know if there's a wedding or the yoga class wants to be outside under the trees and make sure that we're not all on top of each other. But indeed, if we use the space, we'll be responsible for bringing our own hand sanitizer and wipes and things that we might need, and of course, plan on social distancing and plan on wearing masks and so forth. But we did want you to know that was available. That might be something a study group might be interested in, and I understand there is a group that did some outdoor dyeing under the oak trees earlier this summer. So it's there for us if we want to use it creatively and safely. And thank you, Joan. So keep an eye out on the newsletter and the updates and the website as we pull these programs in. And something I mentioned is how much this just this format has increased our accessibility for folks. It also means that we are less limited than we used to be in the past to either having one of our workshop presenters do the meeting when they're in town for the workshop, or ask local people to do the meetings, because we wouldn't necessarily want to, say, fly someone in for a 40-minute meeting, so or a presentation. So actually now I think the sky's the limit, and I'm super interested in some of the resources that MAFA and the Handweavers Guild of America have been sharing with us, because I can see, and the instructors are gearing up and the speakers are gearing up to do online presentations. People could literally participate from all over the world. So I'll just put a plug in there to everyone who's here tonight. If there is someone that you think would make an awesome program, and you think they might even be up to speed on participating in a meeting like this one online, I think we're interested in, finding out, beating the bushes, finding out who's out there, because some of our folks that we did have in mind are not comfortable. It wouldn't work out, and so we're finding our way. And thank you for all the guild resources that we have for that. Okay, let's move on. And I'm okay. So you may know we have drop-ins, and we were doing them in the Triangle Fiber Arts Center, which is the picture on the left, and you'll see that Lori Rhodes is the person who's been sending out the announcements for them. But now we're doing them online in Zoom like this, and you can come either Tuesday or Saturday between 1 and 2, and we'll have a host
Yay.
there. And it's actually been a lot of fun. I like hosting, and I sometimes come when I'm not hosting because people have questions about the projects they're working on, and often people can help each other with, oh, I saw that in Handwoven 2 years ago, and here's the page, and they'll put that in the chat. So it's been working beautifully, and it certainly keeps us feeling connected to one another. So drop-ins are there for you. I guess, Janice, were you going to talk about the classes or pass that along?
Be sure to unmute yourself, Janice.
I'm trying. Okay. Well, I don't mind speaking briefly because there's not a whole lot to say, unfortunately. Normally, I have a whole long list of upcoming classes or workshops. Unfortunately, at the present time, we just have the workshop with Denise Kovnat, the one in October and the one in January. Both of those are full, but we are still taking a waiting list. And I guess, depending on how much interest there might be, we could possibly offer a third session. But Denise has done a number of workshops already using Zoom, and I think it will be a really good first online workshop for us to be having, since she is experienced doing it that way. And if any of you have any other suggestions or ideas for possibly online class or another workshop, get in touch with me and let me know.
Thank you. Yeah, we've explored quite a few possibilities. This is the first one we've locked in. And indeed, as part of the process of locking it in, I was reading the instructions and was very impressed. This sounds like a person who's tried it before, maybe some things didn't go well, has figured out what to do to make it better. And so there's a lot of preparation now. It's very evident in the things that she's written.
I've got one
Yes,
suggestion. When you take this workshop with Denise Convac, I called up Lone Star Loom Room, and they said they're going to ask Denise if they'll offer a discount when you buy your yarn for the workshops. She's supposed to get back to me. So when you do order any of your yarn for the workshop, say you're taking such and such a workshop with Denise Convac, and she may give you a discount.
That's great to know. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So indeed, we've got some lined up, but they filled quickly, and that shows there's demand. And we've also got some evidence that other people are getting in gear ready to offer some workshops. So stay posted, and we should see those also coming in the announcements each weekend in the website. Deb Suchoff, are you here? Would you like to tell us about the illuminations?
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can't see you,
Great.
but I can hear you.
Yeah, great. Okay, so obviously our illuminations are going to look different. And I'm looking at the spelling. The spelling on your little plaque there is different than mine. I think we've got this very cute LOOM, illuminations. But in any case, illuminations are a fun, free way for members to get together. It's an educational presentation that's offered by members for members only. So you've got to be a member to participate in these get-togethers. Because we're doing it virtually using the Zoom format, we're not using any sort of registration. It's a lot looser. So no registration, no fees, and at this point, I am so ready to hear from you. We need some people to step up and offer some fun either classes or a quick demonstration. It could be a lecture with discussion, an up-close and personal visit, perhaps, maybe a studio tour, your own studio. And as far as, oh, Kathy Wolf, I heard your name mentioned, and I think, Kathy, it would be great if you could help out and offer an illumination on how to do all of these great things with the Zoom. I know I need a lot more help. Okay.
I don't know anything about Zoom. I
Yeah,
can help
that's
with
our
the
PowerPoint Maven, but maybe Patty's our Zoom Maven. I don't know.
Yeah, and the PowerPoint too, because if a person would like to present an illumination and have some PowerPoint to go along with it, that would just make it like tonight. This is fabulous. It's just so easy to see what's going on. Okay, so if you would contact me directly, debbiesuchoff@yahoo.com, with any questions, any ideas, and we can figure it out. It's something that we'll do together. I will be there with as much support as I can offer. Patty is, she's just our Zoom maven and will help us also. We do have what I hope will be a fun illumination on Thursday, September 10th at 1 o'clock, and we'll have this announced in the newsletter. But Thursday, September 10th at 1 o'clock, it's going to be your best hints, tricks, and cool ideas presented by me.
Yay!
And yay. So yeah, we all have those great little knots that we tie or special fringe that we do or great ways to use leftover yarn. Well, this is going to be that illumination. So please join me. You'll get more information about that when you check out the newsletters. And I think that's it, unless there are questions.
I wanted to offer something while people are getting their questions and unmuting if there are any. We have a YouTube channel. Thank you, Patty. I don't know if you were going to talk about that, but we have put that illumination that we had a few weeks ago up there. Patty, do you want to take over?
Sure. We do have a YouTube channel now. Right now, the only thing on it is Sydney Sogel's illumination on getting ready to sell. And there's a little video of me spinning, but basically we're like this. Tonight's meeting will go up on the YouTube channel as soon as I can get it converted. So it may be a few days before that's done. The way you get to the YouTube channel is to click on the home page. There's a series next to the search box. There's a series of 5 little icons. One is for Facebook, one is for Instagram, one is for Ravelry. The 4th one is for YouTube. It looks like a little TV screen with a right-hand arrow in it. You click on that icon, it'll take you right to our YouTube channel. And the 4th icon, 5th icon in that list of 5 social media icons is if you want to email us. So basically, we'd like to use this for recording our meetings and our Zoom sessions. We can also, if somebody has a nice video of a studio tour of their own studio or tips and tricks, if they do something, we will try and make room for it on the YouTube channel. And the other thing, the link is always there on the website to get to YouTube. But once you're there, you might want to you might want to bookmark it so that you don't even need to go through the Guild website to get there. I was told you all also want me to talk about podcasts. Do you want me to do that?
Sure, please do.
I know nothing about podcasts. I just know how to put the links on the website for podcasts. I've never listened to one in my life. But on the website, under resources, there is a link that says links/podcast. And there's a list there of probably 10 or 15 podcasts that other people swear by. So if you like listening to podcasts, these are fiber related. You might enjoy that. I wanted to talk about the classifieds page for Jane
I think
Patterson.
we have that coming up if you want to wait.
Okay, I can wait.
That
Blog
would be
too?
great. I'm sorry?
blog?
Yeah, I believe those are
Okay.
there. We'll
I will-
watch for them.
I'll sign back in when you're ready.
Thank you. And I thought I saw Kristen. Did you want to ask a question or say something?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, great. So the big news is we are going forward with the sale and show. And I don't know if Kelly's here because I can't see everybody's faces.
I'm here.
All
Can you
right,
hear me, see?
take
Great.
it away.
Okay, yes, we're super excited. We are still having our sale and show this year, but we decided to go virtual. This is really exciting because it means we can actually spend a lot more time on it instead of just fitting it all into one day. So Patty has done a whole lot of work, and we've come up with a plan where any exhibitors who participate in our virtual sale and show will be part of our online gallery and actually have their very own whole page on our website devoted to showing their work. So we are still accepting exhibitors. So if you'd like to sell anything that you've made of fiber, it doesn't even have to be weaving, but any fiber-based art that you'd like to sell, we're still taking applications all the way through August 31st, which is Monday. So please, please, please go to the website and apply, and we'd be really excited. I think we have 19 exhibitors currently signed up.
21, well, 21 have signed up.
21.
I have not gotten information from all of them to create their pages. I think we're done. We're ready with 17. So there are about 4 people who still have things they have to send me.
Awesome. So yeah, we've got 21 people, which is really exciting. So your work will be shown on the website for actually 3 months, September 12th through December 14th. And that will have links to anything like your website or links to contact you via email or however you'd like. We're also going to have our exhibitors do Instagram takeover days, which is a great way to kind of just show off your work on our Instagram and Facebook. And I think that's it, unless I'm forgetting anything. But it's super cool. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or ask the Guild. And anyone should definitely apply. If you're not sure how to sell your work, it sounds like there's an awesome video by Sydney that's up on Facebook or up on YouTube. So.
All right, that's great. Thank you, Kelly. Are there any questions or things anyone wants to comment on about the sale and show?
So Kelly, I understand that we have to be ready to mail things. If people want to buy directly from our website, we will mail things most likely.
I believe, yes. You will have to work that out between whoever buys your item directly. So they may ask you to mail something. If they don't live close enough to come by and pick it up by hand, they might ask you to mail it. So you should have a system for that in place. But I would say the USPS is actually really awesome. You actually don't even have to go to the post office. You can go to their website and literally buy postage for any package right off their website and mail it straight from your own house. So it's pretty easy. And I'm happy to help anyone do that if they'd like to know how.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
It says sale and show. So everything that is shown should be for sale, or is there going to be items not for sale?
You are welcome to have a page for just showing your stuff if you want. I mean, you don't have to sell. There are a few people, 2 or 3 people who don't have shops online, and they just had included an email in case someone wants to inquire about a commission or buying something that they have in stock. But I don't see any reason why, if you're willing to pay the fee, I don't see any reason why we couldn't create a page for you if you just want to show your weaving.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Great question. Anyone else? All right, let's move on. Next, we have the library. Is Stephanie on board?
Actually, so Stephanie couldn't be here tonight, so this is Helen. I'm standing in for her.
Thank you, Helen.
So yeah, as you've probably seen in recent emails, we have a new online catalogue for the library, for the Weavers Guild library collection. So first of all, Stephanie would like to thank Sandy Lyles for all her work in putting all of the books onto the catalogue. So that includes the books at the TFAC and the books at the Seymour Centre. And the link to find the catalogue is on the website under resources and then under library. So the catalogue includes all of the items that are currently circulating, so that includes books and DVDs, and it will tell you whether it's available or whether it's checked out when you pull up the item. It also sends automatic notices when you check out items and check in and check out items. So you'll get an automatic email message telling you the status of the book. It has a pretty good search ability, but we're also over the next few weeks going to be working on adding tags to the book so that you can search by category, such as the type of loom, the number of shafts, the structure, that kind of thing. If you don't have a particular book in mind, but you just want anything, you know, to do with, I don't know, Huck or whatever. So now that it's all online, we are able to start doing a curbside service. So typically that's going to be available the second and fourth Saturday between 10 and 12 at TFAC. And so in order to do this, you must request the book by the previous Wednesday. So in other words, for this Saturday, you should have requested it by yesterday, by last night. That'll be posted on the schedule will be posted on the website if you lose track of, you know, which Saturday it is, because let's face it, at the moment it's pretty easy to lose track. So the reason we ask a couple of days notice is just to make sure that somebody can get over to the library, make sure the book is actually available and on the shelf, and that we have time to let you know before Saturday. So the request form is on the library page, and we have a form just to make sure that we get, you know, the right information from you that we need to pull the book. But it's a very basic form, basically just author, title. So yeah, so that's on the library page of the website. And so the first service is this Saturday, and it'll be me that's there. And what will happen is when you arrive, when you get the email to let you know that your book is available, you'll also get the contact number of the person who's going to be at the centre that Saturday when you pick up. And so when you arrive and you're in the parking lot, just either call or text the person to say that you're there, and wait by the little steps that lead out of that classroom where the library is, if you know where I mean. Not the usual entrance that we go through, but the little steps that lead up to the smaller classroom further down the corridor.
It's next to that big bell, right?
Yes, I have that on my notes next to the bell.
Oh, sorry.
And that way, you know, the person can just come straight down those steps and pop your books in your trunk. So when you know, let the person know that you're there, just pop your trunk, and we can just put the book straight into the trunk, and that way we don't have to, you know, have a big handover. Oh, that information as well, and will also be posted on the door, just in case you can't. If you can't get cell phone service, you know, you can always just knock on the door. You can also return books during those hours, and there'll be a tub or some sort of crate outside that you can just drop books into. If it's raining, we haven't quite resolved how that will work. As far as I'm concerned, if I'm there and it's raining, I'm quite happy just to take the book straight out of your trunk if you're returning things. Or Stephanie says she's quite happy to, if you can mail them to her using Media Mail, which is $3. Or also you could drop them off on her porch, and she can make her address available for that, for anybody who wants to return items that way. And she's in downtown Durham. But you know, if you have problems getting in, you can always contact somebody else and maybe make an arrangement that somebody can, one of us can pick it up or you can drop it off at another member's house. And once you receive your books, they'll be just left to sit for 3 days before they get handled, so they won't be checked in immediately, just to be sure that there's no problems with handling virus infected material. So yeah, you won't see it checked in straight away, but it will get checked in within a few days. I think I've covered everything. It seemed a lot.
Well, thank you. That's so awesome. I can see how hard you all were thinking and working, coming up with this and communicating it very well. And it's very exciting to me that we've entered the 21st century with our library, with the barcodes and this ability to search. It sounds like it's amazing. And then also in the time of the COVID pandemic to have worked out a way that we can safely have the materials go out and come back in. That's really great. And thank you so much for your efforts on that. Are there any questions for Helen? Okay, let's move on. I think you told us so much good stuff. So we did have a question about or a slide about the classifieds. Patty, if you want to come back in on the classifieds.
Yeah, basically, we just wanted to remind everyone that the classifieds page is there. There's a general classifieds page where you will post and the public and our members will see it. There is also a classified for members only page, which is password protected. So if you're not comfortable posting something that you have for sale or your contact information on the main classifieds page, this page is where to post. It will only be visible to members, and those are the people that you would sell to. In either case, you'll send your ad, including a description, the price, separate photos, and your contact information to Jane Patterson. The email is on this screen, and it's also on the website on the classifieds page. The classifieds page also has links to 2 other pages. One is dealers listings. So there are some guild members who sell equipment and fiber related like looms and spinning wheels. And those people who want to advertise on our classifieds page are listed there. And by the way, the classifieds at this time are still no charge. And then there's an in search of page for members only. So if you're looking for like a carpool, a ride to Convergence, which may hopefully happen again in 2 years, or anything else where you want to contact someone, you're looking for a particular kind of loom, I don't know, looking for someone that sells fleece, then you could post an ad on the in search of page. And while I have your ear, it has been pointed out to me that even though I put on the website today the YouTube links, they don't work. So as soon as we sign off, I will make that a correction and make sure that those YouTube icons take you to our YouTube channel.
I think it was also maybe in the newsletter or one of the weekly updates, because I definitely got there and started watching it. So
okay,
it could just be the
I may have
YouTube.
just forgotten to attach it, or else Weebly just didn't save it when I published.
Okay,
so
the icon. Great, thank you.
Mhm.
So Sparkles, hot off the loom.
That's me too.
All right.
Basically, this is here. It's under the show. The hot off the loom page is under the showcase menu, and it is a place where we've had for quite a while. But now that during COVID, it's a wonderful place if you want to share what you're working on. Send pictures and a little description. You can look at that page on the website to see what examples of what other people have sent. We try to be brief and not too wordy here. But basically, it's a fun way to share your work. So email me at lambweaves@yahoo.com for that.
Thank you. And you mentioned the podcasts before. I don't know if there's more to say, but here's some pictures of some of them. And the blog.
Carol Lerner is the manager of the blog now, and she's doing a wonderful job. Basically, she is trying to post a blog at least monthly. Mostly she's getting contributions from study groups. I'm sure we would welcome anyone that takes a trip or has a project that has information that you think you'd like to share. It could be made into a blog post, and Carol Lerner is the person to communicate with for that. Now this list, Jane Patterson, I would not use her email. I would use my email or Carol Lerner's. If you send it to me, I can forward it to her. But you can also look up Carol's email in the yearbook online.
Okay, great to know. And I've seen some good stuff on the blog.
Yeah.
And then also some work on Facebook's been going on, some changes and improvements.
Is one of the Kellys going to talk about that?
I'm not sure, but you can see that we've got something I want to offer, because I just got clear on this very recently, is that we have a public Facebook page and then we have a private Facebook page, and those are not the same thing. So it might be worth checking both of them once in a while, but they are being improved to have better information about what's going on, and I think in some ways might echo the information on the web page, but also might bring in some people, bring in some donations and so forth. So something I do want to say, I was thinking of this earlier when Patty was talking, is that we really have some amazing volunteers in this group, and people have given with great dedication, talent, skill, and interest so many ways that we've improved and grown and just really gotten our act together over the years. And I think between TFAC and the website, we just took off a couple of years ago. So those have been the main things, but there's a lot of other great stuff that's been going on. We're not doing refreshments right now, but that was also one of the wonderful forms of volunteerism and service that always kept our meetings so nice. And I think that I just want to invite you, if you've been around a while and you haven't checked in for a while, or if you're new or thinking of joining, I want you to know there are lots and lots of opportunities to plug in and meet more of our members through service. And so take a look at that, think about it, contact me, contact Patty or Joan if you're thinking about some of the ways. And also Paula has been so great at, our past president has been so great at finding good volunteers too. So we're thinking about getting a volunteer coordinator. We might advertise for that really soon. There's a lot you can do, and we will welcome you and really appreciate those contributions. I think this is the last one. I hope so. I think it is. I've memorized it. So we're sponsored by a number of different organizations, and we just wanted to give credit to them. If you shop at the Woolery, I think there might be some others that aren't listed here. They might give some money to us. Is that true, Patty or Freya?
Honestly, right off the top of my head, Halcyon, if you if you buy on the Halcyon website and you mention that you're a member of this guild, you'll get a discount. I don't know that we get a kickback. The Woolery, Janice, do you know who it is that's giving us? I honestly don't remember, but they're listed.
I know the Woolery is. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know the Woolery is if you shop from the link on our website. You have to specifically jump from our website to the Woolery. It's under one of the tabs.
And
it
actually
puts a cookie in your browser, and they'll identify it and give us money.
And actually on Amazon, if you go to Amazon Smile, if you sign in through Amazon Smile and you list our guild as the guild that you would like to contribute to, a small percentage of every purchase you make will come back to us. And you can have one charity that you would like to do that for, and we would love it if you would choose our charity.
And there's so many, but we're important.
Right.
So yeah, there are a number of other ways we're sponsored, the Commission and the Mid-Atlantic Fiber Association and so forth. So we really appreciate those relationships. And Margaret, I really appreciate that you're here tonight. So yeah, that's it. And I think let's close out from the
wait a minute.
Oh, what? Who else? We have some more. We have some more announcements.
I think Jill hasn't gotten to talk about membership. Can we go back to the membership slide?
Let's see if we can find it. I have to click and just,
third or fourth slide, just page down 2 or 3 pages.
I just
hit your page down button.
I just have to share it again. And I apologize if I skipped over anyone. I know there might be some other announcements we didn't have slides for. Okay, Jill, take it away.
Yeah, so I'm Jill Saw, the membership chair. I just wanted to welcome these new members and just give a quick update on membership and a reminder about the renewal deadline. So we currently have a record 276 members, And about 165 have renewed, which is already great for the coming guild year. For any who haven't renewed and plan to do so, to avoid any interruption in your membership, the deadline is September 15th. And if this were in person, I'd offer to hand out renewal forms, but renewing online is easy. And in the next week or so, anyone who hasn't either renewed or let us know that they won't be renewing will get a phone call reminder from one of the board members. And that's all I had to say.
All right, thank you. And thank you for stepping up into this role as a volunteer. Your work has been amazing. And we've also brought this to a new level, I think, with some technology and ability to keep track of things. And so thank you. And I also want to thank all the new members and everyone who's renewed. And indeed, if you don't get your renewal in, we're going to come and look for you by phone, so, or maybe by email. So go ahead and send it in if you're still waiting. Thank you. And I think that was it. Okay. Great. Do you want to mention we have a regular membership and a pandemic discount? It's there. And we also have received some very nice donations through the renewal process if you're inclined. All right, so what did I want to do next? I really would like to stop sharing my screen. It looks like a mess. I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but I thought this might be a good time to take a break and try this breakout thing. I probably have about 13 people who sent stuff for show and tell, and it is a few minutes before 8. So I think we should still take a substantial break, but maybe not a really long one. I think we'll take maybe about a 7-minute break and come back and start the show and tell. So what I would like to do for the break is put you into breakout rooms, as I described. And let's see, I think there's 45 participants. So let's go ahead and have, can I divide that fast? 9 breakout rooms. And again, you can take a break, you can walk around, go get something to drink, use the restroom. But if you want to hang out with the people that you've been randomly assigned to, introduce yourself, ask questions, and in about 7 minutes, I'm going to bring you back and we'll start the show and tell. Are there any questions about anything at this point?
I would just like to say, like to say, Deb, that the storm is really roaring up here. So if I disappear, that's why.
Okay, thank you. Glad I'm the host.
Yeah, I am too.
All right, good planning. All right, here we go. Breakout. We had some fabulous submissions this week. I hate that word. Entries. And I'll ask everyone, if you're not speaking, to go ahead and mute yourself. And I will mute people if I think there's noise coming and I see they're unmuted. But I'm going to go through the slides just like we did with the announcement. I've got a PowerPoint, and I will invite you to unmute yourself and speak if you're here and you're seeing one of your presentations. So let me see if I can get that right PowerPoint. And I think I need to take it to the top. Okay, and then let's share that. Hopefully, I'm not seeing the right PowerPoint, so let's stop the share and try again. I'm sorry if I have to do this a couple of times. I may have to close the other PowerPoint because it's not showing up. All right, I'm bringing it over. Y'all need to tell me.
I get there's pictures of people's towels and things down the side.
Yeah, so let's go.
Yeah, it was the show and tell PowerPoint.
Got it.
Okay.
Thanks for your patience. It was there the whole time. I just couldn't see it. But now I can see a handful of you and I can see the screens and it looks like we're ready to go. So Joan was going to help me a little bit with this. And again, thank you everyone who sent something in for the show and tell. Like this meeting, and I've already gotten some feedback on this meeting and the breakouts, please do tell us what you think, if it's working or not working. I did mention we were a little slow getting started, and we also did take our time with the announcements. Some of that was just wrangling the PowerPoint, and there may be more of that. But I do want to acknowledge that we were planning to end at about 8:30, and that's only going to give us 20 minutes for 13 different entries. So, and that's people, not even the stuff. So the weaving and the work people have entered is beautiful. So I think we can go on. If you need to leave, you certainly can, but it's not like we're at the Seymour Center and we have to fold up the tables and get the refreshments away and everything. So hang in there if you're interested, and if you really got to go, that's fine. And I'll stick around till we get through the presentation. So first we have Kristen Bergson. Do you want to say anything? You can unmute yourself. We've got maybe 3 slides for Kristen. This is the start banner.
Yes, the blanket on the left is a dyed warp I dyed about 30 years ago of 8/2 unmercerized yarn, and I combined it with pearl cotton and 6/2 unmercerized cotton for the weft, and I decided to make a blanket. It worked out great. It's a nice big blanket. And then the St. Patrick's Day towel on the right is a very popular towel that I'm weaving now, again, because I only have the one towel. So I'm busy weaving, even though we have the virtual online show coming up. I'm busy working on new projects. But those are 2 examples. And then the, did you have a picture of the lavender towels?
Yes,
Deborah?
I just have to put my cursor in the right place.
Oh, this is my new line of towels I did this summer. It's called Periwinkle from Margaret Davison book. And it's all pearl cotton, and it's just a lot of fun to weave. It's just a 4 harness over a twill that comes out wonderful. It's just wonderful. And I love the periwinkle colored purple, and I love the magenta, and then the grotto is the light lavender. And the warp is iris, which is discontinued, which I have tons of. And so I put on a long warp and did about 8 towels in this stuff, 11 towels. I think I made 11 towels altogether.
And there's one more.
And this one is the dyed one. The weft is dyed, so it has an embossed look to it. And it's actually Catherine Weber's skein I bought that I thought was going to be enough for a blanket, but it was really more for enough for make about 3 or 4 towels. So I used it in random stripes and made it symmetrical on both ends, so you could use it as a runner for the center of your table, or it would just balance out better to have it on both ends. So that's 8/2 dyed unmercerized cotton that Catherine Weber dyed, and I actually doubled it in my shuttle so it would be more, it would show up better with the 5/2 pearl cotton. So I alternated pearl cotton and dyed yarn between the shots in the twill pattern.
That's so great. Kristen and others, I want to mention that I'm also already seeing some feedback in the chat. So Kristen, you've had some people telling you it's beautiful and they love it. And if you haven't checked the chat yet, anyone who's presenting, you might get some feedback there. So thank you. And I also want to mention that Kristen's become my go-to person for some wedding gifts recently. So just
thank
in
you,
case,
Deborah.
You're welcome. Okay, how do I advance this thing? So Jill, are you still here? Jill Soha has some pillow cover fabric.
Yeah, so I was emboldened by this workshop I took with Kelly on sewing with hand wovens to weave some fabric to sew a couple of pillow covers. I don't know if you have also a picture of the pillows themselves, but
I do.
Excellent. So yeah, this was my first pandemic project, and I was happy with how they came out. And what I don't have a picture of is some ferns I have against some dark green paper. The ferns have turned tan, and it turns out these are the exact same colors. And that was a total coincidence.
Oh my goodness.
Right above the couch where these pillows go.
I'm super charmed by these because it's the colors of copper, it seems, when it's raw, and then
it looked very metallic on the loom.
Yeah, it's so amazing. And is this pearl cotton or just regular mercerized?
It is, yes, it is pearl mercerized.
Yeah, so that's how you get the nice shine there.
Yeah,
it's really gorgeous. I'm very inspired. Okay, Patty, are you here?
I'm here. Yes, I have 3 things here. The first one, next slide. This is the color's better in this slide. This is a Tencel and silk Bronson lace wrap. It's just 4 harnesses. The warp was 10-2 Tencel, and the weft was 22 silk. This weaves up really quickly because it's only 20 ends per inch, and it's just a super easy pattern. But it's one of my favorite wraps to make, actually, using a variegated yarn. I have a lot of that Joy yarn Tencel left over, and one skein with a little border on each side makes a really nice 14-inch wide wrap. Next slide. This is, I don't very often use my homespun yarn, but when we did the Sarah Lamb spinning workshop, we were told to buy 2 pounds of fleece. I have no idea why, because I still have fleece left over. This was one skein that came out of that. It all was Three Water Farms African Sunset was the colorway. So the warp is my homespun merino, and the weft was a store-bought merino.
Okay, beautiful.
And this was Jackie Heller, our guild member, Jackie Heller, came to my house, and we helped me learn how to do overshot. Our friend Sue, whose house I'm at right now, I'm sitting right here, was in on the workshop via Zoom. So this is my first overshot ever, and this was a little scarf. I just did 3 different patterns, I think, and lots and lots and lots of color changes. I think there are 36 different colors in this. The warp was all 16-2 cotton, and the weft, pattern weft was 8-2 Tencel.
Super exciting. It looks so modern. Yay. All right. I have to push the button differently. Okay. Kelly has 3 things coming up, and they inspired me to give her little icons.
I like those icons. Nice. All right. This is my gigantic dragon. You can see it behind me in my living room. I have a nice cathedral ceiling, and I didn't have this cathedral ceiling when I was thinking about making this. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I was kind of not sure how to, like, what the dragon would look like. So I finally, with the Shibori study group, said, you know, this is the project I'm doing this year. And that was at the beginning of 2019. And so I stitched it throughout 2019. Some of the tail, I think I was binge watching Stranger Things. So I think that's kind of appropriate for, like, the subject matter. I've had some folks, when I have been taking some Zoom classes, ask if it was Game of Thrones, but no, I don't watch that show. But I do appreciate dragons quite a bit. I'm trying to think if there's about 6 different stitching techniques in this. The tricky part is that I started with the tail, and since there's a bunch of different stitching techniques at once, you have to draw up the fabric as you go, and it's hard to see what you're doing, and so you can't stop too much because you'll forget what you're doing. I also had some happy accidents, like underneath the second arm from the top. You can see it's darker. Yeah. The stitching let go, but honestly, that was perfect because it made more of a shadow. So some interesting learning experience with this project.
It's really stunning. I'll encourage you to look at the chat. You've got some feedback.
Thank you. We can go to the next one. Yep.
So
I was much more productive at the beginning of all this stuff, and I finished up a couple of projects, the dragon being one of them. This one sat on the loom, 3 years. I took Mary Kircher's warp dyeing class, and at the time the only kind of loom I had was a Navajo style loom, so that's why this was done on that loom. And I dyed the weft, so it's got a Navajo wool warp and a cotton weft, which I will never do again. You really shouldn't. I don't recommend it. Just don't do that. I only did it because it was the only loom I had, and it just doesn't behave the way wool and wool should be, would behave. So you can see the very end bit of it in the top left. You can see the light behind it. You finish the tapestry in the middle or on the end. And in the finished product, you can see where the work or the weft doesn't match up, doesn't register anymore. That's the end bit, because it's hardest to force the yarn in there. I think I'm gonna maybe put some beads or something on it, but I'm just enjoying it right now. I'm glad it's done, mostly.
And you have a note in there that stepping away for 3 years or off and on was not the way things should be done, right?
No, in the Navajo tradition, you are supposed to tend your loom every day. If you've warped it up, you should be weaving on it every day. And I have not been able to do that, just life in general, but
yeah, I think
this was
could be a goal for many of us to try to do something every day. Deb Suchoff always says, even if you're tearing paper, so I tear paper a lot now.
Right.
All right, one more.
And this last one, I was supposed to go in May to my best friend's wedding out in Missouri, which of course didn't happen. She wound up doing it virtually. And when I found out she was doing it virtually, I had to take a couple days off of work and start weaving, frantically, because I needed to get it done and in the mail for her. This is the first piece I did on my new to me Norwood loom that I got from the Guild. First 8 harness project. This is a modified rose path. Totally screwed up the repeats, totally screwed up the length, but she doesn't care. She thinks it's awesome. I'm happy to have been able to make it for her and put my love into it and send it off. So
it's quite an exciting graphic design. It's really great. Thank you very much, Kelly. So Pam James couldn't be here tonight, but she's been on the drop-ins a lot this summer, and I've actually heard the story behind this. I won't take much time with it, but I just want to say that it was meant to hang above a sofa on her friend's wall, and so it was a commission, and I hope you can see the whole thing. So it looks like she's hung it in her garage, and I think she's now delivered it, and so it's a good story. The thing that stands out about this that I will share, and she mentions it in the comments, is that she likes to unpick sweaters and other woven things and store the yarn. And then when she does her new projects, she's drawing on that vast collection she has, and drop in, we can see it behind her head on the shelves. And so she's got quite a bit to work with now, and you can see the diversity, and some of these are more crinkled or sparkly or whatever for her friend's wall hanging. I'll encourage you, if you're interested in her unpicking, unweaving, to check in with Pam. Okay, Helen Bauer-Jones, a Paul Klee triptych.
Okay, I just forgot to turn on my sound. So this was another project using a warp painted in Mary Kirsch's warp painting class. I did it last June. It seems like I don't know, it seems like forever ago. But anyway, it was the one last June. And it, or was it the June before? Anyway, it took me, it sat on my loom for the best part of a year. Because I kind of set myself up with a difficult task. So it was a linen warp from Gist Linen. I don't know if anybody has used theirs. It's I think it's 18.3. I have a hard time remembering all the numbers.
It's there. You put it down.
Oh, did I put it there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Okay. And then I used. So I wanted to do something where the colors did not get, over masked by the weft. So I wanted to use something pretty fine. So I ordered this on sale from Sanjo Silk, some this tussar keet, which I had never seen before, like blended silk, which turned out to be a lot thinner than I realized. So I ended up having to use it like two strands, which was a complete pain in the, because I had to like wind it double each time I wound a spool. But anyway, it did the trick because it really kind of just blends in and doesn't alter the color balance too much. So I did a 5-yard warp in the class, and I decided I wanted to use all of it for a kind of a combined piece. And the colors and the kind of way I'd put the colors on the warp are inspired by some of Paul Klee's paintings that have the very kind of like splotchy colors in the background, and then he does kind of like graffiti over the top of them, like sort of writing and shapes over the top of the painting. So that was what I was trying to recreate. So the first one I did was the center one, in fact, which was a double weave. I had also been, because I had only had a rigid heddle loom before, and so I had spent a lot of time like experimenting with lino and things I could do on the rigid heddle. And that seemed to kind of echo his little drawings, his little lines on his art. So that's what I started out doing. And then I thought, I'm not doing another one of those because it was a nightmare to do. It took me so long. So that's when I decided the companions I would do, just do this like little, what I called kind of fractured overshot coming in and out, just to kind of add something to the color rather than just do a completely plain weave.
It's amazing.
I don't know what else to tell you other than that.
So the overshot you said is honeysuckle, small honeysuckle?
Yeah, it's from the Anne Dixon book. And my first idea was to try doing different treadlings of the pattern in different places, but it just got too complicated. I just couldn't keep my head around it. Once I'd got the kind of rhythm going for the treadling that I was doing, I thought I'll just stick with that, because otherwise I kept losing track.
I think
and I just used up random bits of kind of linen, and I think I had some of the singles wool that I got from the scrap exchange. They often have odd cones of things. So I just, mostly it's kind of slubby linen or cotton I used for the overshot. So.
You're being invited to do an illumination on this. I think it's magnificent. And the more you talk, the more I realize how special it is, even with the scrap exchange yarns in it. So I'm sure we're going to ask you a lot of questions and hope to see more.
Oh, I haven't got the chat. Okay.
Anyhow, check the chat. There's a lot going on. Jean Johnson, I think, told me she could not be here tonight, but she's offered enough notes that I think we can get a sense of it. She was inspired by Melinda Bird, who she refers us to the Bird Call Studio, and I checked that out. It's pretty amazing. And this is Raya, which is the knotting technique. I don't know if it's Swedish, but I do know it's Scandinavian. And I've seen a lot of Raya rugs in my lifetime, but wall hangings and pillows. So she's got a pre-woven backing that she's tying into, and I think she's using a tapestry needle. She's able to keep her pile consistent using like a leaf stick or something, sort of like a ruler. And then she's also put a binding on it, as you can see in the middle picture. So the right is middle. On the left, there's a sketch of her design. It's her original design. And on the right, you can see the finished piece, again, a wall hanging. She also did some pillows. You can see them here on the bottom. And I love that she shows the technique and even just the yarns. So you can see that leaf stick or that other rod that she's got in there that she's tying her knots around, and then she can cut them. And the other thing that was really important in her story was that she does, I think she said 8 rows, you can check the notes, but she does quite a bit of tabby in between the knotted rows. So you'll see how that's anchoring it, but also spacing it to give it that, it almost looks like animal fur look. And she did a color that was symmetric. So coming in with the navy and then switching to that more brown and then coming back out with the navy. I guess it was called Willow, and then coming back out with the navy. So pretty stunning. And Raya, different technique. Joan, you want to talk about your runners and your placemats and your towels?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so you can advance. Yeah, okay. So after MAFA last year, I took the rep weave class with Rosalie Nielsen. I made this bed scarf for our king size bed, and it's was in hand woven. It's, you know, other than swapping out the colors and changing up the hem and doing the Cavendoli knots, it's straight out of the magazine, just brightening up a otherwise very dark room. And some of you may have seen that on, I think it's on the website. Pearl cotton, this one's 3-2. And go ahead to the next slide. Okay, so then more rep. I asked my best friend what color her daughter, who was getting married, what colors were in her kitchen, because I wanted to do a table runner for her, and black and white and gray. And I'm like, I want color. And then Marion Flint, yay Marion, she said, why don't you do a fade? So there are 3 shades of gray and white with back as the background color on this, and it's completely reversible. It looks just as good on the other side. And I even hemmed it in opposite directions, so she can spill on one side and flip it over. And I ended up making 2 of them, and I was really pleased because I wanted so desperately to put color in, but I was happy with the neutrals. So little rep. And this wasn't a learning process. So I bought this pattern from Webb's and used exactly the weights of yarn they called for, and I could not get the beat as tight as they wanted it. The green of the blue one, backup one. So it's a summer winter pattern, and it's 8-4 on the, it's all 8-2 in the warp, and the weft is alternating 8-4 the white in white, and then 8-2 weft in tabby to lock it down. And there were certain treadling that I constantly got the 8-2 running up under the 4-2, and it just infuriated me. And then I wasn't happy with, and I would have had to line, you know, back them with fabric and to stiffen them up, because they just had too much drape for a placemat. I mean, they'd wrinkle just sitting on the table. So they grew up to be towels instead of placemats. So lesson learned. And then the last one, these are the towels. If anybody's doing the Convergence towel exchange, you might get one of these. I went back to the neutrals because I was so happy with the rep ones. And this is a 8-shaft twill, and it's also out of hand woven. In the magazine, it's grays and blues and white. I don't know. Now I'm a fan of the neutrals, I guess. I just thought they looked really elegant.
Thank you. Those are pretty. I'm looking up close at that the weave texture. It's really got some nice different designs in there. Okay, thank you, Joan. Nolani Jones.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Hi. Usually I don't really participate in the show and tells because I get really nervous to like come up on the whole like stage. But I'm really excited with the Zoom meeting because I can just kind of sit here and like it's more comfortable for me. So I'm excited to share my work with the guild because I've been a member for a long time, but I haven't really like done a lot of show and tells. So anyway, I had a pretty productive quarantine. I would say probably May was my most productive month, kind of like after I got over the anxiety of quarantine. And then I was like really energetic, and now I've sort of like lost it again. But hopefully I'll like get it back now that our sale is coming up. But anyway, so this was the first project that I did. It was for Terrain Exhibitions Art and Place Initiative, which is a Chicago-based sort of like artist initiative, and they sort of do it in neighborhoods in Chicago where people will turn private spaces into public spaces. So they'll do art installations like in their front yards or in like the windows of their homes. And so with COVID, they went virtual. So even though I live in North Carolina, I was able to participate this year. So I was really excited. And so I did this weaving, and I was really impressed because it took me about a week from dyeing to finish weaving, which was pretty awesome because it's the fastest I've ever natural dyed anything or woven anything. So that was exciting. But it says there's no place like home. I thought it was a pretty good quote to kind of talk about what's happening. And it's done with sort of like a supplementary weft or an inlay. So I had dyed the warps with avocado and madder and like these different like pinks and peaches and some indigo. And then I did the inlay or supplementary weft with this yarn called Scrubby Sparkle. And I get it from Walmart, and I'm really obsessed with it. It's this really disgusting like polyester yarn, and it's really crunchy. It reminds me a lot of Easter, but I really like the juxtaposition with like the natural dyed yarns. So that was sort of my idea for this submission, and kind of my idea of like not using a cartoon to weave the text, so that I could sort of like go with this concept of like taking it day by day in quarantine, or like weaving thread by thread on my loom, and sort of that idea.
Oh, wow. I think we have another scrubby coming up. Yes.
But yeah, and then the second sort of like project that I did during quarantine was a virtual artist residency for Overland Artworks, where sort of like you got to propose any kind of idea that you wanted for your residency time. So I proposed kind of like documenting my story from home and doing these like daily journal weavings. So my residency was for 4 days, and this was day 1, where I ran out of eggs for breakfast. So I went to Woody's farm in Pleasant, North Carolina, and he's a farmer that I recently met at the beginning of COVID because they closed the Greensboro Farmers Market for a few weeks in the beginning. So I sort of had to get in contact with my farmers directly to be able to like buy my produce like freshly and organically. So that was really exciting because now I get to like go to Woody's farm. So this was sort of just a weaving that I did inspired by that, using like linen and hemp. And I used some wool that I dyed with pomegranate and then did an afterbath in sort of like an iron mordant for like that green square. And then for the egg, I did that thing that you do for when you like dye eggs for Easter, and I like blew the yolk out so that I could have a little hole in the egg so that I could put like a monofilament and then stitch it to the weaving. It works pretty good. I mean, it's not like the most strong thing, but it works for like what I was trying to do. So it was pretty exciting. I think that's all I have. Oh, I did it on the cardboard looms, which are sold by Debbie, the paper loom weaving kits. So just thought I'd plug for that real fast. I really love them because I can weave like anywhere.
That it's so neat. And I love the monofilament holding that egg on there.
Definitely. And the last thing I'm doing is preparing for our guild sale and show. So this is like one of the new things I'm making, which are these notebook paper towels. They're not made with paper, but I just thought it was funny because they kind of look like pieces of notebook paper. But I weave them with organic cotton, and then again I use the Scrubby Sparkle yarn because I love it, and also it makes the towels themselves kind of scrubby, so they work also like on a functional level as like towels. So they're pretty cool. Last year at the guild sale, I didn't sell that many because I didn't put a sign up. I don't know like what I was thinking, but people I don't think knew what they were because I didn't like put a sign up like, hey, these are like notebook paper towels. So I got a lot of questions of people being like, what are these? So I'm hoping that this year, like with the description, it'll like be more obvious what they are. And you know, what's like obviously with a title and signage and things. So
And
yeah,
the
I'm
dish
excited
soap.
for that.
I think the dish soap helps.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that yarn in person someday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, number 10, Sharon Grubb, and we have a rep table runner.
Yay.
Okay, I spent the summer studying block weaves of different kinds. I started out looking at double weave because I took Jennifer Moore's Double Rainbow workshop right before the pandemic started, and our study group was doing double weave. And then I went into summer and winter, and finally I've sort of latched on to warp rep, which I really like. And I've made several table runners, which I've given to friends now, and I just picked this one I made most recently for someone who has kind of an arts and crafts design in their home. And so I wanted to make the pattern have a little bit of an arts and crafts kind of look. So it's very block oriented. And I designed this myself, which made me feel good. I spent a lot of time studying how to design the blocks for warp rep, and it worked out pretty well, I think. I used 6 colors of 10-2 yarn. I like to double my 10-2 yarn for the warp. It gives it just a finer finish than using thicker yarns. And then I had 6 colors, and so I used the 6 colors for the thick weft. I used 24 strands of the 10-2 to make my bundles for the thick weft. And I like doing that because it gives you the color on the edge. It sort of gives it some interest on the selvage. And fortunately, the recipient liked them, so I felt good about that. And anyway, there you go.
How lovely. I love those colors. And yeah, indeed, I see the craftsman. I see comments in the chat about Frank Lloyd Wright, and it's really, it's got that shape.
Thanks.
Yeah. It sounds like it was hard to figure out that design too.
I spent more time on the design than I did on the weaving. That's one of the nice things about rep. It weaves really fast because there's so few picks per inch.
Yeah, I can see in the right-hand one those little multicolored turns on the ends. So
yeah.
That made me curious too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Sandy can't be here. I think that's true, but she wanted to share 2 tencel scarves, and she finally got them off the loom, finished bird's eye for the twill, and she says it's from that Baltimore Weavers Guild book celebrating their decades. And we have a celebration we could start planning for 50 years. I think Paula was going to talk about. And Paula, I may have skipped that if you're still on. So let's we'll have 2 more, and then I think maybe if you still want to share about the 50th anniversary, let's hear at the end. Okay. We also have, let me see, I covered up the name, Janet Colm shared 2 scarves. And Janet, if you're here, you want to describe them?
Yeah, I'm glad to. So these are 2 scarves. And they were, the weft, the warp is a Blazing Shuttles tencel, which I've never woven with tencel before. And the thing for me with the Blazing Shuttles, Catherine Weber's yarn, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with, is how to get the make the most of her yarn. So on these, I actually split the yarn and flipped it. So each color, each stripe in these is where the yarn flipped back and forth. One of these is silk. I think it's the top one is got a silk weft and the bottom one is a cotton weft. The other thing that I'm very proud of with these is these are the first things I've ever sold, and they went really fast. This is a Strickler pattern. I know, Patty, I know you've used this pattern because I've seen it on your website. It's a great pattern. It's really looks very complex, especially with Catherine's yarn. But it is, once you get it on the loom, it just goes boom, boom, boom. I think you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6. You know, it's just really straightforward weaving. So I'm really happy with these. Although the picture looks a little fuzzy. So that's the story of those.
All
I'm
right.
so inspired by everybody's work here.
I
It's
know.
amazing.
It's really fabulous. Okay. And I think we have one more. Yes, Sarah Warren. Sarah, if you're still on the call, if you want to unmute yourself, you can tell us about your yardage. All right. We've still got 42 people. That's really wonderful. So Paula, I did neglect to bring you in at the beginning. Are you interested in coming in at the end?
It won't take very long, especially after all the wonderful things that we've just seen. It's just inspiring.
Yeah,
The
I'm inspired.
opportunity for having information about our history is really available now with the YouTube channel. So while it's still a year or two away from 2022, where we're Golden Jubilee time, this year has been such a wipeout that we probably need to get started. And just want to interest everybody, if you decide to clean out photographs, if you wake up in the morning and think about a fun experience that you had, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20, or longer ago, just keep it in mind and jot a couple things down. Because as we move through the next 6 to 8 months, we'll be gathering some of those things and hopefully to put together our history. It is a public channel, so it will help to put a face to what the Weavers Guild is. And while we will talk about TFAC and our relationship with Shared Vision, we can go way back before into the time where we had 1 or 2 workshops and everything was stored and we had to move trunk to trunk and there was no library. So keep in mind that we're going to start collecting things, and there'll be a heads up on the website and through what's happening. We need to get going on it to make it a fun thing and something that everybody will be proud of.
Thank you, Paula, and thank you for this initiative. I also did want to acknowledge that you've been become, as past president, our outreach coordinator, and I don't know if there's a vision of what might come this fall with ELF or any of the other things that we usually do.
I don't think it is clear yet whether they're going to have ELF. I would say it's right now unlikely because it's such a small environment, but we don't know if it's going to go virtual. And under the circumstances, you know, we just have to wait and see. I think Fiberfest is a real opportunity. That's usually the middle of March, and it will be to be continued. I haven't heard anything else, and I know the Triangle Weavers Gmail gets requests, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. Well, I do want to acknowledge if there's anyone that I should have called on and I didn't from our board or list of things that we talked about at the beginning, announcements, I just want to leave it open for a moment to have you check in. And otherwise, I really want to acknowledge that someone said this to me earlier today from the Guild. It takes a village, it really does. And everyone has been chipping in to get us ready for this moment today. We didn't screw up too badly. I think it went really well. I especially appreciate Patty hanging in there and getting this new Zoom page for us and getting it set up so that we could do this. Obviously, we still have some things to learn if we're going to try to use Zoom for breakouts and so forth. So I want to continue to invite you, if you have knowledge and skills or feedback, or could connect us to somebody that might really help with, let's say, video production, check in, let us know. Talk to me, talk to Joan and Paula and Lori and others, Patty, because we really see this as a great opportunity to do some things we've never done before and do them in new ways. And it is very clear that the contributions that the group has been making, they really soar. And this show and tell was magnificent. So thank you everyone who turned something in. And I was so happy putting that PowerPoint together to see up close. I think this online gives us some real advantages we don't have meeting in person, even though we all really miss each other. And we'll keep looking for ways to socially distant hang out if we can come up with them. Any last words from anyone? Anything we overlooked? I'm ready to adjourn the meeting. If not,
Thank you so
okay.
much.
Thank
All
you
right.
all for your hard work. This was great.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for hanging in extra time. Bye.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.